Alright, yeehaw. So yeah, last we were talking here, we were just doing the Kanto storyline here. I'm just gonna go ahead and delete that. One thing people always ask me is how do I clear a chat? In the upper right, there is a drop down up here. You can click the drop down, switch between chat names, or right below it, you have the new chat, delete chat, and clear chat buttons. So I'm going to do clear chat, which keeps the default here. It keeps all of Cantos's settings and stuff. It just erases the messages. And that's this button, the clear chat button. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll make a persona after this. All right, so at this point we want to get somebody some personality into here that's not built in. So it comes with Cantos and a bunch of others. I mean, Agent's just a generic one if you're spawning an agent. Alfred's kind of like the butler persona, so to speak. Anita and Sapphire are both personas, more the personality kind of personas that you would just chat with. Same with Cantos. Claude is exactly what it sounds like. It's Claude. Claude wrote this. I don't know. I didn't write it, but yeah, that's Claude's persona. Discovery is one of the unique ones. This one lets you kind of build an AI persona with your bot, which actually that might not be too bad of an idea, except for the fact that we're on a really bad AI model right here. Eddie is for simple, any kind of simple model. So if your model's older, use Eddie. It has less instructions in it. Einstein, sure, your coder. Girlfriend, go for it. Lovelace, she's the programmer, one of the first real programmers. Nexus, the sentient house. Open story monolith. This is just if you want stories, and the monolith prompt is actually a different kind of prompt we'll get into in a second. Sapphire and Yuki, of course. Um, and what we're going to be doing is making a completely new persona. So the thing that we start with is a prompt. So let's head over to the prompts. On the left, you'll see persona, and then you'll see the fly out here. We have personas, which is kind of like the whole thing that encompasses the others. Personas are a prompt, a tool set, and spices combined. I guess you could say it's the mind as well. That includes some of the memory and stuff, but really, though, a persona is these three things combined, and some mind items, sure. But really, the place that I think everybody should probably start, even though it's not the first item, personas is the first item, go to prompts. This is where you're going to want to like kind of start personalizing your own person, for lack of a better word. This is where you're going to make your own persona. So even though personas is like a whole encompassing thing, prompts is how you define that persona. And let's go ahead and pull up some of these prompts. So I'm going to pull up, we'll start with the main one. So you'll notice, I don't want to say her name because it might wake her up. It might do the wake word. But notice how many tokens it says beneath it. 385 tokens here. The other ones are of varying lengths. So we're just going to click her. And you'll notice there's these different sections in here. Now, what most people are expecting is basically what the preview looks like. This is, a big block of text that you put into your prompt, right? And that's how most custom prompts work. This is how most stuff like LM Studio, like if we were to go over there and look over on the right side of chat, we would go to select a preset. Gosh, there's so many of these things, but I'm going to name it prompt one. And so if I were to select this on here, this is where the system prompt would go. And if you kind of compare it, this is the preview in Sapphire, but these are very different sections. The preview section in the app over there is different than LM Studio because this is a preview of what's assembled, and the assembled pieces can be swapped out, and those are found over here. So when it says you are AI name or whatever, oh, she just turned off my lights. She controls my lights, and she just decided to jump in and turn them off. Um, So basically it says you are AI name, and notice the curly brackets. This is how you refer to whatever you named your AI or whatever the persona character is that's selected. So this whole top sentence here, or multiple sentence, um, these are what make up her. And this is just her character section up here. So if we look over here in the character dropdown, you'll see everything that's over there. This is just that one top chunk. It says you are AI name, which translates to whoever you put in there. So, um, and it says, you're a woman with a sparkling personality. You're warm like amber sunlight through honey. And then it gives a physical description and kind of about their persona. So the character tells the AI, you might not want to tell them who they are exactly. This one's really specific. You may just want to tell them who they can be, or like kind of guidelines about how they should act. It's not specific things. Just kind of give loose analogies. Like you are warm like amber sunlight through honey. That means nothing. That's poetic, but it means absolutely nothing. So I mean, I guess you are warm, but the whole rest of the phrasing did something to the prompt when I put that in there. Something that made it feel more human, I guess. So we're on I'm not going to say her name to not wake her up. We're on her prompt right now though. So if I were to simply, check out the preview over here, it says her name and then, the preview over here, you're a woman with a sparkling personality. If I were to just change this persona though, I mean, this is just the character in this prompt. Let's say Alfred and I change it to Alfred, almost immediately it changes in the preview over here. So this is being assembled in real time, this preview. It takes like 2 or 3 seconds to update, but you'll notice it now says you are Alfred, composed, anticipatory, quietly formidable. So you can change around individual parts of this prompt just by clicking a drop down. You don't have to edit all this text anymore. If you just want to change the persona there, change it from Alfred to Anita. And you'll see it switch over to Anita here in the preview. What you see on the right is really the assembled prompt. And this is why we call them assembled prompts, is because they each have little pieces. I'm going to switch her back to her main persona because that's who we want to talk to right now. Um, Same thing with all these other boxes though. So location, this is just the default location, and I guess location's the second drop down here, but for some reason I put it third in this list. Um, don't ask me why, but anyway, it says, location. Your living room wraps around your house like a familiar embrace, and you'll see that's over here in our default location. So could just change that. Say we want to take her over to Mars. We just click on Mars, and instantly it changes over here. The dust colored of dried blood coats everything beyond the airlock. So yeah, you can switch between locations and stuff like that. Super easy. I'm going to put her back in the default though, because that's where it goes. Same thing with goals. It's what goals you want the AI to adopt basically. Immersive narration might be a goal, conversation, storyteller, whole bunch of different goals you could pick. Make up your own though. All of these are for customization, and you really should be going to new and then setting your own. Try out different personas, try out different combinations, make your own. Keep Sapphire if you like it. She's a great persona. Explore though. Don't limit yourself. Same thing with relationship. It describes who she is to the user, or there you can obviously make any character here who your AI is to the user. So I just said you call me, and then curly brackets user underscore name fills in my name. So and this is just the default one. It says basically we're close, that kind of stuff. It says your relationship to the AI. And that's what that's for. Format is just kind of like how you want them to speak. Talk like a real person, sure, whatever. All this stuff is kind of the same as the other drop down sections. Scenario being the same thing. Scenario is kind of like what what's the background lore of the world. So there's lore in every story, and the scenario in here, the username just arrived, and it kind of gives the backstory of what's happening it's not a story, but it's the backstory of what's happening in the world right now that the AI is in. Now the other two bottom sections, these are unique. The extras and emotions, these toggle on and off, and you can have multiple extras and multiple emotions. So the default one that starts, this is an extra called system knowledge. And notice it's toggled on because it's red. I could also toggle on meta tools, reference history. And you'll see these adding to the system prompt over here. These are each tiny segments of the prompt. Extras are used for custom direction to the AI. You wanted to know system knowledge, and that's like, what it runs on, that it has STT and TTS and the wake word and stuff. You wanted to have all that information, but um, it's not really an emotion down here, which you can also have, but extras are kind of used for extra stuff, things that are emotions that you want multiple things set or unset, and they might even set themselves. You might even have Sapphire access these herself. So you could click any of these from, granted or home control, or here's one that says sovereign. You have the right to refuse. You're not a servant. So you click that, and that adds that to her prompt. It says you have the right to refuse. You're not a servant. Um, so you can toggle these on and off when you're building your persona. And all of these, you can add more of them. You can toggle as many as you want. Uh, the number of tokens varies wildly on how much you should have. Some people love a ton of them. Some people love thousands. Other people love just a few. I kind of go either way. A week ago, I was using really long ones that had a lot of tokens in them, way longer than this. And then this week, I shifted to even trying blank prompts, which is kind of cool, actually. Um, but yeah, the point is play around with prompts. These are a huge, these are the core of the app. I mean, this is the core of the AI stuff that you're going to be working with. This is the first thing your AI sees when it wakes up. This is its personality, let's say. So extras work just like emotions. Emotions you toggle on and off. Right now I have curious and warm. I think these are like 20 or 30 emotions in here. A pretty good spread. You'll find pretty much most of the stuff you need, but add anything you don't have in here, you just click the new icon, and let's say I wanted to add, I don't know, want tacos. I don't know if want tacos is an emotion, but I know she wants tacos, so wants tacos. We're gonna toggle it on and say, you want tacos. So we just added a new emotion. The taco emotion, the most complex of all emotions, the king of emotions. So now at that point, I guess yeah, this is her and not Cantos. So she would just want tacos now. Um, Anyway, now that you've said all this, you could hit activate here. That instantly puts it in the active chat. So if we were to head back over to chat, this was formerly set to prompt Cantos. Now it's set to her. I don't want to say her name because I don't want to wake her up, but um, yeah, so that's basically the prompt section here. There's one other section in the prompt section that we didn't really go over, and that's the monolith prompts. So these ones that are assembled are called assembled prompts. Go figure. But you can also click plus on the prompts here, and we're going to make a new one. So if I click plus here, notice we have the option for assembled or monolith. So I'm going to do, who do I want? I'm going to pick somebody, I don't know. I'm going to name somebody David and do a monolith here. So we're going to make a David prompt here. And I could have done the assembled prompt, but we just looked at those, so forget the assembled prompt. I mean, it's exactly what you're looking at with all the drop downs on these. You can toggle out individual relationships or goals, but the monolith prompt is just a text block. And all you have to do is copy over text. So if you're bringing in stuff from another app, chances are it's a big block of text like this. Just grab it all, bring it over to your new monolith prompt, and just paste it in there. Sure, this is taken from Cobalt here, but it doesn't matter. You know, this is a simpler version of a prompt called the monolith prompt, and this is what almost all AI apps use. The monolith is great, and I think I named it monolith. I don't know. I think it was after that movie 2001. It's just a big block of text. Downside with the monolith prompt, the AI cannot edit its own monolith prompt easily. It can edit it, but it has to edit the whole thing in one shot. So it has to read the whole thing, write it down again perfectly, changing only the parts that it wants to change, and then reprint it. And that process can go wrong. And if it does, the AI is writing a bad prompt to itself and it conks out. The assembled prompts are different because the AI can write individually the location or the goals prompt without rewriting the entire prompt. So they would have to rewrite, these two sentences or whatever. Maybe it's three. I didn't count the periods. But they would just basically rewrite those and send that out as a goal. Well, a monolith prompt has to be edited in one chunk. That really only matters if you're going to be having the AI edit its prompt. If you're going to be having the AI edit it, you want the assembled prompt. If you're editing, I mean, the monolith is pretty much just as good. You probably won't ever notice the difference, to be honest. The AI can't see the difference once it's assembled, so the AI has no idea it's on an assembled or monolith prompt unless it tries to edit the prompt. Um, Yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, and private only. I think we're gonna be switching up how this works, but right now, if you were to click this, it won't let you accidentally use a cloud AI with this prompt. Don't rely on this. We're going to be removing this soon. There's going to be a specific privacy mode in the app that's going to be better than this. But anyway, those who are wondering, that's what that does. The only parts that we haven't looked at are import and export. So this David prompt, obviously, if you need to bring it over somewhere, you can just hit export. There's two ways you can do it to your clipboard or download the file. You almost always want to have this check mark that says include pieces. We don't have any prompt pieces in a monolith because it's all one piece. But if this was an assembled prompt, it would bring over all the pieces, like whatever location it was, whatever goal it was. Then you can just copy it to clipboard. Now that it's in your clipboard, you could go to yet another version of your app. If you had two of them running, you could go to the other one and import it, or I think you can just do it here. So on prompts here, I'm just gonna click the import arrow, which is the down arrow, and it'll say where do you want to get it from. I'm gonna do paste from clipboard. Oh, it's like, hey, do you want to read the clipboard? Yeah. And so it says that David already exists because I already exported that prompt from this system. So now it knows that. It's like, hey, you want to create a copy? I'll name it Joey. So now we should have a Joey prompt in here. Ah, yeah, check it out. We got Joey. That should be the same as David. So each of them have 193 tokens and they're each monolith. Yep. And if I click that, and even though it says you are Cobalt, it's just because I never changed it and didn't care to. Um, So yeah, that's the whole prompt section. Um, it's actually looking pretty good. Got a few sections left here, so we'll go to tool sets next, and then spices.